10 years later, it's time to return to Zombieland. So let's talk about it. Ten years after the events of the previous film, our crew sets out on another adventure across Zombieland, only this time the zombies have started to evolve. Hey everybody, if you're unaware, this past week I've actually been in California. Right now I'm in LA, and I was actually able to get invited to a press screening here in Los Angeles, which was awesome to go to a theater in Hollywood that was actually in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to see a press screening. An amazing experience. But real quick, before I tell you my take on the movie, go ahead and tell me what you thought down below in the comment section. What did you think about the original film? How did the two compare to one another? I would love to have your thoughts on it. With that said, let's get started talking about the good. And probably the absolute best thing about this film is the ensemble cast. You enjoy being with them. You enjoy their banter together. It feels like they're having a lot of fun together. Just seeing them on screen with their adventures, especially 10 years later, now that they're like a well-oiled machine that know how to work together, that's enjoyable to be around. You like each of the characters individually, but they're even better once they're together. And there's even some interesting new dynamics with the group because 10 years have passed, so the little girl, Little Rock, is no longer a little girl anymore, and the characters have kind of been involved in raising her. That leads to some very interesting stuff that you kind of can explore because so much time has passed. Another great thing about the film is that the humor has not skipped a beat. A lot of time with comedy, it's time bound. And so what was funny 20 years ago really isn't funny right now or isn't considered acceptable now. But with Zombieland, the original film was a little bit ahead of the curve. It was written by the guys who wrote Deadpool, and you can see a lot of what they did with Deadpool, they actually did in the original Zombieland. Well, the original Deadpool only came out about 3.5 years ago, and it popularized that style of meta humor that they did 10 years ago, but it was only popularized kind of for the full mainstream now. And so even though this movie's comedy is 10 years old, it feels just as fresh and relevant as it did before. The lines are still funny. It doesn't feel like they're just rehashing things. It all works. You're laughing. You're not cringing at the jokes. And so that was one of the things that made the first one so much fun. It's still present here. Of course, it's a zombie movie, so you got to talk about the zombie action, and there's no shortage of wonderful zombie carnage and gore as they use crowbars, shotguns, machine guns, Gatling guns, vehicles, and any number of other things, even buildings themselves, to kill the zombies inside of it. You get that sort of the fun kills that you got in the first one. You get more of that in this film. And as it kind of goes into the climax of the film, actually reminded me of this video game Dead Rising, where you kill a lot of zombies inside of it in creative ways. They very much so do that in the third act of this film. It's also very much a crowd pleaser. I think my audience broke into applause on 3 separate occasions throughout the course of the movie. One was at the beginning. There was a thing that happened in the middle that just people just started clapping at this one specific scene. And then as you move into the climax, once again, people were clapping and like hooting and hollering. It was a very fun audience to see a movie with, but more importantly, the audience itself was having a blast with the film, and it was evoking the proper responses. This is definitely a worthy sequel to the first film that I think people that enjoyed the first film will enjoy this film. There is also a mid-credit scene for this film. It's not short. It's actually several minutes long. Definitely something you want to stay around to check out. With that said, let's move on to the mixed aspects of the film. Big thing here is the Zoey Deutch character. She's written to be annoying. Therefore, a certain percentage of the audience will be annoyed by her character. I thought that she did a pretty good job of balancing being annoying while still being likable, and she was used just the right amount inside of the film that she doesn't overstay her welcome or just drive you as the audience members crazy. But the way that she's designed, some people aren't gonna like the character. Like, she is absolutely someone that's designed to be irritating, so much she's irritating most of the characters inside of the movie. So just as a thing to know inside of it, I think most people will probably enjoy the way she's used, how much she's in the film, and get a good chuckle out of what they do with her. But some people won't like her. From there, let's move on to the bad. The first thing that comes to mind is that it did feel a bit like it was repeating certain themes and ideas from the first film, especially with Emma Stone's character. They're in a a different place, different things cause certain choices, but for me, I was kind of like, are we really kind of doing this again? And as the plot kind of unfolded, the way some of it plays out definitely got reminded a bit of Friends and we were on a break. Just with the way the movie plays out, with us having this 10-year time gap, it felt like certain things happened a little bit too quick inside the film, and it made it difficult for me to like understand where she was coming from, why she was making the choices, or responding the way that she was responding in specific situations. Also, there's several different kind of cameos inside the film that I wish they hadn't made so prominent with kind of the marketing for the film, for specifically with Luke Wilson and Thomas Middleditch. Like when we went to go see the movie, they had a big poster up on the screen, and so we were looking at their faces and their names for the whole 45 minutes while we were waiting for the film to start, and they're really not all that prominent in the film. It's very much kind of a cameo, a bit part. It's a specific sequence inside of the film, very much so comparable to what they did with Bill Murray before, but because they're in the marketing, it kind of makes you expect there to be a little bit more than there actually is of that sequence. So I wish they hadn't used them in the marketing, and they probably could have tightened the sequence up a little bit, but if you use them in the marketing, it feels like you need to extend the sequence a little bit more. So I thought that could have been handled a little bit better, but some of that's just a marketing thing, not so much an actual problem with the film thing. Also, the film spends a good bit of time telling you about how the zombies have evolved and how there's different types of zombies with different skill sets, and there's new, more powerful, dangerous ones coming. But I didn't feel like that actually built towards a specific payoff. That was mostly just used for punchlines and kind of different moments to have a scene give them some trouble, but it wasn't actually built into the plot line. It was just information that they gave us to put something different in the mix, and as kind of the third act plays out, I don't feel like that tied much into it. And there's even kind of one type of zombie that they told us about that I don't remember really having a big part throughout the film at all, even though they spent a sequence to tell us that they exist inside the film. I was like waiting for that to happen, and it never really did. Real quick, before I give you my final take on this one, go ahead and tell me what you thought down below in the comment section. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did it live up to the original one, or did it disappoint you a bit? I would love to hear your take on it. While it may not be as fresh and original as the first film, it's just as fun and a worthy follow-up. It's a B+ overall. It's an 8 out of 10 on the entertainment scale, and if you enjoyed the first one, you should absolutely go check out this film. If you ever enjoyed this video, check out that one right over there. I don't even know what YouTube's recommending to you right now. If you click on it, go ahead and let me know in the comment section of that video, where did it take you? Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.